At grey dawn, Rook Calder woke to the smell of pitch and salt and the low creak of the Black Gull. He leaned on the rail as a thin rim of sun lifted from the heave of the sea. He felt the ship breathe under him, steady and alive. The night watch shuffled past, faces hollow with sleep. Rook counted the breeze on his cheeks and weighed it in his mind. A fair wind, he decided, and the day promised motion and risk. He moved through the morning chores with the crew, palms rough on rope. He checked lines, inspected a split batten, and set 2 men to mend a tear in the forecourse. Pitch heated in a pot, sticky and sweet. He measured water rations, then tasted the barrel for sourness. Men grumbled, men laughed, and the ship kept its rhythm. Under it all, Rook felt a taut thread tugging him toward chance. Near mid-morning, the shout came from the foretop. "Sail to leeward." Rook climbed to the quarterdeck and raised a glass. A merchant brig rode heavy with cargo, canvas full, crew lax with confidence. He gauged distance and drift, then the lean of their masts. The breeze favored the Black Gull. He felt the old pull in his chest, part hunger, part dread. He gave the word to make ready without fuss. The crew rolled powder kegs from the hold. Pistols were primed, blades checked, grapnels coiled. Rook walked the line of men and saw their jaws set and their eyes bright. He spoke low and steady, more to quiet his own pulse than theirs. He felt the ship answer the wheel and heel into the chase. The water hissed past like a whisper that promised both fortune and loss. They closed the gap by noon. The merchant woke at last, canvas straining and a bell clanging. Rook measured the last yards with his breath. He signaled the gunner. The starboard gun barked. Splinters leapt from the merchant's stern. The smell of powder rolled over them. He felt that first hard tremor in his bones, the one that always arrived right before steel spoke again. Hooks flew and bit wood. The ships kissed and ground. Rook crossed first, boots skidding on wet planks. Steel rang, shouts rose, and the sharp tang of powder stung his tongue. He kept low, moved on instinct, and trusted the path his feet chose. A sailor lunged. Rook parried and shoved him aside with the flat. He felt fear like a heat, but it sharpened rather than shook him. The walnut stock of a pistol flashed. Rook turned, and the shot tore canvas instead of flesh. He drove forward, shoulder to shoulder with 2 of his crew. The merchant master fell to a blow that rung like a bell. Silence settled in pockets between groans and orders. Rook stood in that space, chest heaving, and understood again how thin the line was between a living man and a story told after dark. Below, the hold smelled of spice, damp rope, and coins that had seen too many hands. Rook ran his fingers through a crate of pepper that sneezed in the air. He counted bales, tallied jars, and eyed a small chest that clicked with silver. He thought of a loam field he had left behind and the debt that had swallowed it. The taste of victory felt like salt water, sharp and never enough. Clouds built like mountains in the west as they made for a hidden cove with their prize under tow. Rook watched the sky grow bruised and the back of the sea lift. He felt the first cold drops like pebble taps on his face. He argued to cut the tow. Better to keep the men than the cargo. Captain Mora studied him, weighed the same cost, and gave a single nod. When the squall hit, the world narrowed to rope, wood, and breath. Rook lashed the wheel, shouted for reefed canvas, and felt the deck buck like a living beast. Water hammered the scuppers. A mast line snapped and sang away. He thought of the men on the rail and counted them again and again, each count a promise. The storm took the prize, but the Black Gull kept her heart. By late light, the sea went glassy, and the sky washed clean. The crew set to repairs with quiet hands. Rook stitched canvas by the rail while the cook passed a tin of rum. Laughter rose, then faded to murmurs. He felt the day settle into his bones, heavy and honest. He thought of the prize gone and decided he could sleep with that choice. Men still breathed. That was enough. They made the cove by night, a black mouth in a line of cliffs. Lanterns winked ashore where allies traded no questions. Rook bargained hard, pepper for rope, coin for canvas. A child watched him with wide eyes from behind a crate. He lifted 2 peppercorns to his tongue and pulled a face, and the child grinned. For a breath, the world felt simple and almost kind. The warning came as a ripple along the shore, then a single, distant bell. A cutter slid into the cove mouth, canvas black against starlight. Someone had sold them for a thin purse. Rook tasted iron. He called for anchors up and led the helm through a slit of water only a local would dare. Rocks shouldered close. The cutter followed and grazed stone. The Black Gull slid free like a fish. By moonrise, they were clear, sails set to a quiet wind. Rook stood alone at the quarterdeck rail and felt the ache in his arms finally speak. He thought of the day as a braid of choices: chase, mercy, storm, and a narrow path between rocks. He knew the sea would ask again tomorrow. He also knew he would answer. He had no gentle way to live and still call it life. Take this with you, he thought without words. A pirate day carried risk and hunger, but also craft, loyalty, and a code carved by necessity. Courage did not feel like thunder. It felt like showing up for hard choices, again and again, with clear eyes. Mercy had weight. So did survival. The sea did not forgive, but it rewarded those who listened closely to its many tongues. Past midnight, the deck turned quiet, and the stars leaned close. Rook marked a small cross on a worn chart and stowed it under his coat. He checked the lashings, the powder, and the sky once more. He let his eyes close for a heartbeat, then opened them to the dark that was never empty. He felt the ship breathe. Tomorrow waited beyond the black line of the sea.